This is WFO Radio.
Hey, everybody. Good morning on a Friday. What's up, everybody? Joe Costello here, getting ready for another weekend of racing, Lucas Oil Raceway, the Lucas Oil Summer Nationals. But we have been chasing these winners all week long. Billy Torrence, Jason Line, we got them slotted out for this hour. So stick with us, share the show, start a watch party, be ready, as we are going to talk with some NHRA Drag Racing Series winners on a Friday. Now, we are not drinking cocktails just yet, but it won't be long, soon enough. Big thanks to our sponsors, talking about Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology, Sam Tech, Frank Hawley's, and all of the rest, the folks that make it all possible here on WFO Radio. Subscribe to the podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, those of you on YouTube, and you'll have the chance to comment. But right now, we're going to go out to Kilgore, Texas, Capco. He is working. He's taking the time off to hang out with us. Mr. Billy Torrence. Billy, congratulations. How are you?
Hey, Joe, I'm great. Great to be here, man.
We're thrilled to have you, and thank you for making the time on a Friday before you guys head back to Indy. A rematch of the U.S. Nationals final. You and Doug got out there, helped yourself out in the points, but to me, it had to be great for you guys to just get back to racing. What was that like?
You know, we were glad to be back out there with our friends / family, you know, all the people that we spend more time with than anyone. And it was just good to be there.
And the protocols, right? I've got some photographs of you and the team and all that went down. And it was just kind of interesting seeing everybody masked up and all, but it looked like everybody really worked hard to do the right thing so that we can continue racing.
I think so. It looked like the race went off really, really smoothly. And, you know, we realized that this is a test time to see if we can, you know, conform to all the guidelines and that hopefully we'll be welcomed across the country.
I am hoping as well, wherever we can, right? And I guess flexibility is something that is going to be very important for the teams, the NHRA, and the fans. You know, just because something was the idea, 6 weeks out doesn't mean it's going to be the idea when we get there. And so we just got to be flexible. That's something you probably have some experience with, being in business. Yeah,
you know, it's an ever-changing atmosphere, you know, in business with these days and the racing. I mean, the racing is, you know, having multiple races at one venue and having to skip around wherever you can put on a show. So it's we're flexible, and we were certainly blessed to be able to be there and have some success and get on old Doug in the final. That's always a plus.
Absolutely. All right, let's get into that. First of all, qualifying wise, you 2 sessions, so that changes the game a little bit. The strategy of 4 sessions, see what it'll hold, get down through there, step on it, lean on it. That kind of goes out the window. You guys ended up 4th, Steve, number 1 qualifier. So the Capco team continues with the momentum that you guys, got back in Arizona. It feels like a million miles away. That set up a first round matchup with Terry Totten, who hung tough. 401, right? Like if you had slipped up, but a 376 got you there, you were on the tree with an 069. And I'm sure that felt great to shake off any rust that was there.
Oh, yeah, that was a good pass. The boys had worked hard. They changed the whole fuel system after the second qualifying hit, so that was the first hit on a completely different fuel system, but one that matches Steve's almost to the T. So we had some good data on the car, ran well, and we were able to get a win. Tough go.
Absolutely. Second round, TJ Zizzo, another car. Like this was a really interesting race in that there were a lot of single car teams, like privateers, single car teams. And that's what you guys were once upon a time before building this amazing championship empire. But when you see a Terry Totten, when you see a TJ Zizzo, I'm sure you guys see a little bit of yourself out there. And TJ is one of the guys that can jump up and bite anybody at any time. They've got a really good program. They say it. They rather race less often and have a chance to win as opposed to all the time and have to go, halfway. So they're 82-2, 061. You needed that 77-4 to get around them to go to the semis.
You bet. Yeah, that's always a tough team. They really stepped up in the last couple of years. Our car really runs well. TJ does an outstanding job, and a great family race team. We've been right there, and we still are. We're just a bigger family race team at this point. But yeah, there's and good folks. We enjoyed them.
They did a good job. And just talk a little bit about the thrill of the competition after not having the thrill of anything but work and and dealing with it, to get back in, strap on the helmet. We know where that's the place that you're most entertained and comfortable. You've taken to it very well past couple of years, ramping up your schedule. So to go out there and stomp on the loud pedal, as Clay would say, and be able to mix it up and square off on against these other teams, just talk about the happy place that puts you, Billy.
Well, we always look forward to going out and racing as a family. Our teams are an extended family to us, and everybody's had a long face for weeks and months. So, to get back out there and get in the swing and actually pick up a win for the Capco bunch, that was just, over the top. And we really had a great time and look forward to getting back out there this weekend.
Oh, yes. So the semifinal matchup, I know this is the one that you love the most. I know you want to race everybody, but when you can go after Steve, and on WFO radio, our podcast especially, and Steve's perfect season, perfect countdown, all of that, you took some big swings at him. And I think if there's one thing that everybody knows is that it's almost like you enjoy beating Steve more than anybody else, because he's got a great car, and so here we go, right? First race back, you're setting up that matchup, you and Steve, the two Capco cars and new Capco colors, and you got after them. They smoked the tires a little bit. Tell me about the prep for that run. Like, how do you and your team approach running the world champ?
Well, I mean, you got to have all the I's dotted and the T's crossed when you roll up against Steve Torrence and that Capco bunch. I mean, because they just don't make many bad runs. Steve's always going to be on the tree. The car's always going to be there. We just knew we had a tough race, and we got out there and ran a tough race. They had us beat. Steve had me at the gate, and they were going to outrun us a little bit. But they hazed the tires there a little bit, and we were able to get around them. We were celebrating a little bit, but not too loud.
Exactly. Getting some congratulations coming in. Monica says congratulations on the win, and Chuck says he was in Brainerd when you won there also, so he's excited. Kathy is out there saying what's up and good morning to us. Good morning to all you NHRA race fans out there. Billy Torrence with us. Jason Line scheduled to join us a little bit later. And so that sends you to the final round after having taken out Steve. On that note, though, I know Jake, he's got so much experience, and just setting up the car to run against Steve, it's kind of interesting in that you guys are able to do something you're capable of doing, and then force them to be better. And the last couple of times, or a couple of times that I can think, I think back to St. Louis last year in the countdown. I think about certain examples that kind of, I don't want to say it forces their hand, but maybe they slip over the edge.
Well, they're very confident. I mean, they've made so many good runs. I mean, they've dominated for literally 3 years, so they're confident, and they were about one revolution of the tire from making that run right there. It just barely turned loose, and we'd have been toast, and Steve would have been in the final. But we always prepare the best we can for those guys, as everyone else does. We are armed with information that they share with us, and actually their team comes over, whoever wins, it's a Capco car going forward, and we all help each other.
Final round, you and Doug Coletta. Doug, of course, the opponent, just I guess in almost a year now, in Indy, the U.S. Nationals final last year. And that was a crazy race, because if memory serves me right, and feel free to catch me up on that, but you might not have even, we weren't necessarily going to run or make the countdown. You made the countdown. All this stuff was happening, and like a big surge at the end, and you made the countdown. You had a chance to win the U.S. Nationals, came up a whisker short So you get a rematch of that race right here. What did it feel like to have you're at the same place, you're at Indy, you got the same opponent in the final round for the first final back in the NHRA?
And the same lane.
And the same lane, like everything the same. A dual.
Yeah, it was. I told Doug when we were at the end of the track, I said, Doug, we've been here before. And I really enjoyed Doug. He's a great guy, great competitor and great friend. So we just had a good race. We went up there. I think that Doug we'd had a little better car than they had. And he stepped on the gas and got that car out there, and we were just able to run them down. It was a good race. The race before at the U.S. Nationals, we both blew the engine up, coasted across. So this is a better race for both of us.
And you pick up the win, and that experience of getting the win, you obviously were happy on television. The winner's circle activities, though, a little different. They had to do it in your pit. The protocols, the team, the trophy, the photo shoot, all of that happening in the pit area. But I don't think it dampens the victory in any way. It was just a little bit different. And of course, not the winner's circle celebration you're used to with all the fans coming over, mobbing you and all of that. But, take me through how it was different, the post-race celebration.
Well, the whole race without fans is, we love to race, and we're just blessed and fortunate to be there. But the fans is what, they motivate us, and to not have them there, it does put a damper on it. But we were able to get the race win, get back to the pit. And a lot of our competitors came by and congratulated us and all. It's a really tight knit group out there. But I'll be glad to get back with the fans and have them out there, and because we always have a bunch of them in every celebration. And the winner's circle deal, we missed that, but it takes a little bit of the shine off of it. But we'll look forward to seeing all that stuff come up again as this pandemic gets over with, and get the fans back out there racing.
Got to get the pandemic over with. Otherwise, we can't get back to that. They are connected, and we got to do what we got to do. So you pick up the win. Point standings, really interesting. Doug leads by 111 over Steve, 120 over you, and that pretty much represents the race that you guys skipped at the start of the season. Leah, 1 point behind you. Point being, no countdown this year. We know Steve, not a fan of the countdown. You got to take advantage of the countdown last year to kind of surge up into the points, but these round wins will factor into the championship, and you really don't know. None of us know how many of these races are actually going to happen. We've got our fingers crossed that we can go to wherever we can go and run as many as we can, but it's not certainty. So to be in the mix, you're going to have to stay close to the front and make a charge to get that lead as soon as is possible. You are in the running for a championship, Billy. And you always say, like, man, I'm happy to be here. I'm so thrilled. Oh, Steve, Mama Kay. Billy, you got a shot to win the Mellow Yellow Top Fuel World Championship, man. You are right in the middle of it right now.
Well, that is true. We'll go out there and do the very best we can. I've never been a fan of that deadgum countdown deal anyway. I like this format. I would feel a lot better if you knew that you were going to have the 20-something races still ahead. But, we'll go out there and have fun and do the best we can like we do every time. And we'll just let the chips fall where they may. I fall heir to a great team over there. I have two good teams that keep my car going with Steve's team. They all take care of the old man. So I'll do the best I can. But we'll just keep on keeping on, Joe. We're just going to have fun. You can bet on that.
Well, that's good. And so this weekend, Lucas Oil Summer Nationals, the next race in Indy, and I was not there, which was disappointing, but I understand. Most of the stuff I do is fan interaction. We had limited fans, and so I get it. Lucas Oil Series action, we had no Lucas Oil cars for the most part, so I get it. I got to experience it as a fan from home, and being able to flip on NHRA.TV, I know testing is on right now, being able to watch Fox Network and see drag racing was a big deal. For my money, I would love races to be on. I don't care where they're from. That's my bottom line. I would rather have races than no races. If they were all in Indianapolis, I would be okay with that. But here you go again, same track, That's kind of interesting. We've never really done that. Your notes from 1 week ago are going to help you this week.
Yeah, I think so. Depending on what the weather and track conditions bring out, this week will be, even a more competitive atmosphere because, people get data from that racetrack and they'll be able to, get dialed in there. The thing is going from one track to the other. We have so many different fans at each one and, you love to see all those folks and that's the only drawback, but racing somewhere is better than racing nowhere.
Simple as that. Amen. Racing somewhere is better than racing nowhere. A couple of things happened during the offseason I want to get you to comment on before we let you go. Jason Line is up next. Big things, bigger than drag racing. One, your little boy, all grown up, right? Steve, Natalie, get married, everything that I saw, the most amazing wedding you could possibly have. Just speak on that a little bit, and you had to be very proud.
Oh, I am so proud. I'm so proud of Steve and Natalie, and Natalie is just a great girl, great choice for Steve, and Mama Kay loves her, and that makes all the difference. And Kay and Natalie, we put the wedding on there in our backyard, and had didn't have as many people as we'd have liked to had, but we were probably skirting the issue with the pandemic and it all went off of that hitch. And I couldn't be happier for that couple. They got, it's a young couple and I think they complement each other.
And the thing that I think the car guys out there were really interested in, and, anybody that's got a good relationship with their dad, the welding truck surprise that they dropped on you with your first ever welding truck, and they found it and they restored it and they surprised you and Steve, seeing some of these photographs, like, look at that guy with his igloo cooler all messed up and your working hat on, welder's hat. To think that it came from this to this, and that Steve, your kid, who, let's face it, Steve, he's got his own deal going on. He wants to thank you so much. He wants to pay that tribute to you and salute you and had a lot of help doing it.
Oh, I tell you what, Joe, it just almost tears me up every time. That was my welding truck there. I built that truck when I was 20 years old. And there's Steve, when those photos, Steve's a little old bitty kid. And, I've been a pipeliner for a long, long time. And when they came around the corner, and that I hadn't seen that truck in, I don't know how many years, 20 years. And they restored that thing, frame off restoration. It looks like a brand new 1980. I bought that truck brand new, cab and chassis, cost $8,543 for a brand new 1-ton back in the day. Now it's about 10 times that, and new welding machine. And, I just got a lot of memories in that thing. And it's just, that's blood, sweat, and tears. That's something you just cannot pay for. That's Steve found that thing out in some field somewhere, and the Capco boys helped restore it. And my friends and family around here helped all that stuff. They did it right under my nose. I think it was about a 6 or 7 month project. And, I was totally pumped. You could have knocked me down with a feather. When that thing rolled around the corner, I said, it was unbelievable. I tell you what, it just tears me up. I got that thing. I'll never let loose of it. At one time, it was my whole estate, but today is part of my estate, and it will be when I'm gone from here.
Wow, that's great. No, it's great. Does it bother you at all, though, that they were able to pull that off without you figuring it out?
Well, no, that's just that just alludes to how crafty Steve is.
There you go. Billy, thank you very much. We appreciate you joining us on WFO Radio, making this special time for our audience. That's our thing. We catch up with the winners. We hear about the race, and you got it done, and you get a shot to go do it again this weekend. Lucas Oil Raceway, Indianapolis, Indiana. Good luck. Thank you for making the time. And hey, who knows? Maybe we'll be doing it again next week. I'll have to come up with some more questions.
I hope so, Joe. Great to talk to you, and see you soon, man.
Thank you, Billy. Appreciate it. There he goes. Billy
Bye-bye.
Torrence with us here on WFO Radio. Way to go, Billy. And I love it. My dad, same deal. Had a 1968 GTO Ram Air. Awesome car. Decided to start a business. Got a GMC dump truck. And It wasn't that long ago we got rid of it. And I think to myself every day, I know him, we should have kept that thing and restored it and just had it as a deal. So if you are in the Ocala, Florida area and you have a 1971 GMC dump truck, please contact me and we'll try to make something happen. Yeah, what are you going to do? All right. Speaking of restoring things that, we're old and can be new again, let's bring in our next guest. He is Pro Stock winner and in his final year, got the job done, Mr. Jason Line, who has been sitting around and now he decides to start moving around. What's up, Jason?
I've been. I'm working on some lifter bushings, and you're disturbing me, so I got to stop.
I'm sorry. Yes, and was that where?
Mess it up.
Take us into the cylinder head porting laboratory, please. Give us the real tour that Alan Reinhardt's been wanting for all these years.
No, that doesn't really happen. So no, we're just working on some other stuff right now. So all good.
Okay, so I pressured you to do this because yes, I did. But because you won a race for the 17th consecutive season, you won round 2 of the all-retirement grudge match against Jeg. Like, this is a big deal. We got to hear from you after this race before it is all, I don't want to say erased, but we turn the page tomorrow as you guys go back at it again at the Lucas Oil Summer Nationals. And so this was big. You got to win in your final year.
Well, I don't know how to tell you this, Joe, but we don't go back at it tomorrow.
Well, you're what's tomorrow, right? Tomorrow's Saturday, right?
It is.
And what happens tomorrow?
For me and Jake.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's
Jake
right.
might be back at racing somewhere. I don't know. I'm going to be.
You know what? I don't think you're right. I got Pro Mod. Bo apparently did a burnout across the center line. Do you know that? But
I've seen him drive. Doesn't surprise me.
I'm in terrible sorts. You're right. We got Showdown. You got Showdown cars out there, but you're not back in it. And oh well. Let's move beyond that. You get to be a winner for more than one weekend. That's
pick up a bat, Joe. Get in the game.
I don't care. Like nobody's in the game right now, Jason. We're all kind of halfway baked, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, no, it's been a long, crazy off season for sure.
Yeah, a second off season, and we spoke with Greg. Greg said you guys dynos were spinning the whole time. Clearly, it worked. The car was quick, fast, and I don't want to say you had a slight advantage, but it looked like you had a slight advantage. The best cars were, 2 or 3 ahead of everybody else.
We definitely made a couple strides forward for sure. We were lousy in the first 2 races, and kind of went back and fixed some of the things that we unfixed the things we fixed over the winter, and I went to Orlando and ran good at Orlando. I didn't run good, but Greg and Matt did, and everybody did except for me. I was lousy, but good flip flop for sure. And I almost think, and I told Richard this too. So I think Elite may have took a slight step backwards. So they pulled a KB. I don't know, but anyway, we were very competitive, and it was good. It was fun.
That Orlando race was great. Greg told us that it showed what's possible with track prep, right? And I know there's some differences, like they were prepping for you guys were the focus, whereas NHRA's got all these different styles of cars, et cetera, and so on. But man, that was a fantastic race. And it sounded like you said everybody ran good, but it sounded like there was a confidence level with the way that prep went.
Well, I think it showed us a couple things for sure that helped us here at Indy last weekend. No question about it. So, but anyway, it's a work in progress as always, and it evolves, and you got to keep up with it. So, but it was fun to race Jag in the final. Of course, I think the 2 quitters racing each other is kind of fun. So, if we can do it a few more times, I'm good at that.
All right, so let's go the round by round, though. Alan Przenski first round. You uncork a 661.5 from the number 1 spot. That's one of those races that, every driver tells us are the most nerve-wracking when you are supposed to win. You're supposed to win. You're the number 1 qualifier. You got the quickest car on the property. You're supposed to win that, but it's not always a given.
No, it's never a given. You never know, and especially with me, I can mess it up for sure. So. But fortunately got by it, and he had some problems. We managed to get through.
Alex Laughlin's second round. Speaking of elite and Richard and those cars, a 660 with a 9. There you go. Big move forward. And you were able to get around to Alex, who was 667, to set up a semifinal match against GA. We know those are always fun. But you had to be building confidence at that point, feeling pretty good about yourself.
Actually, it was the opposite. I really felt like, Greg's car was certainly as good as mine, maybe even a tick better. But he was driving much better than I was, of course, and so I really felt like I kind of honestly I wanted him to win. I felt like he had the best chance of winning in the final, and so I really thought he'd win, and I kind of wanted him to win because it's important for me that he gets the most wins of all time. It's important to me that he passes Warren for that. So I was kind of hoping he would. So anyway, but it didn't work out, and so now when I get to the final, I actually have to do something with it.
I like what you're saying about that. I'm a big fan of Warren Johnson, and I'm a big fan of you guys because I was introduced to this whole arc because of Warren Johnson. Greg working there. But it's good for the sport when the baton gets passed. And I agree that Greg he's got to hang around until that happens. He's got to stick it out until that happens. It'll be good for pro stock. He needs to get to triple digits is what really needs to happen. He needs to get to 100.
Yeah, I mean, for me, being a part of this and being, working, with and for Greg for the last, 17, 18 years, it's an important, it's just an important stat, I think. And I'm not a stat guy at all. Don't really care about it, but I think it would just, I guess I'll feel a little bit incomplete if we don't accomplish that.
You cannot say you're not a stat guy while at the same time being happy for 17 consecutive years with a win.
That's my dad's fault.
And saying you're worried about Greg achieving a certain stat. So
well, maybe now that I'm like almost over the hill and like at the end, maybe the stat becomes more important. But that was important to my dad. He gets crazy over that. Like that's a big deal to him, and he's proud of that, and that's cool. So so it's fun. So it is, looking back on it, that's a long time to manage to get a win every year. So, and some of those years were great years, some not so great. So it's still kind of a neat accomplishment, I guess.
Before we talk about the final, let's go back to qualifying. My memory has been jogged early in the week. You blame Mike Heiner for the car not starting, and our audience has been, on bated breath, wondering what could Mike Heiner, because he's a viewer of our show. He's on there popping on, probably testing right now or doing something. But what did Heiner do to sabotage you?
I'm sure he's causing discontent somewhere. There's no question. Michael, I have a love-hate relationship with Michael because he did one of the best things ever for me. He introduced me to my wife, so probably the best thing ever. And then at the same time, I got to deal with him on a weekly basis, and then that brings us over to the other side. So, but he borrowed a part off my car, and then just sort of forgot to put it back on. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's great. And you won.
I thought it was funny, and then I got to kind of pummel him in an interview, which is more fun for me. It was actually more fun than even if I'd have made that run. So, so it was good for me. He was a little bit bitter over it, and he said it wouldn't have been as funny if I would have qualified 17th, which true, but we didn't, so we didn't have to worry about that. So I can beat on him a little bit and have a little fun at his expense for a change.
I think it's great. It was not great when the car was not starting and you guys were figuring, and I'm sure he felt terrible when he realized, oh, yeah, that would.
You don't know him that well.
No, he was probably, oh, yeah.
No, I think he was chuckling, yeah.
Oh, okay. We're getting to know him pretty well through the show. Okay, fine. I can
do in.
Yeah, Bobby Hill. He's obviously a very smart character, right? Like you pretend to not be tech savvy, like this interview with the video. Jason wanted to go back to doing the telegraph, everybody, but I told him, no, this is easy. Isn't it easy? Come on, this is just as easy. You don't even have to hold the phone anymore.
Might actually be easier. Yep, you're right.
So. That's it. All right, you and Jag in the final round. You guys already squared up once this year. Reinhardt wants to start a campaign. I agree with him. I know you want to retire. Yeah, I said it. I agree with Reinhardt. this is not the right year to call your last year. It's not even a real season. It's all in question. We don't even know what's going to happen. We don't know where we're going to go. The fans all around the country, Jason, chanting your name. Like, can't we just get off one more year?
Yeah, you sound like my family now.
And everybody says the same thing. We're all saying the same thing because this is not the year to call it the last year. It's just not the right one.
I suppose they all can't be wrong, but nonetheless, this is it. So
wow.
I appreciate that, though. I like the enthusiasm and appreciate the support. And it's been a heck of a ride. And I've been very lucky, very fortunate to be able to do it this long. So it's been great.
See, Lehigh is up there. Jason, we all want you to keep racing. All right, you and Jag, final round. Knowing that, that's a stat that matters, right? Who of the two of you will win the most head-to-heads in the final season? And you could say it won't matter, but 5 years from now, you're going to be bringing it up, or he's going to be bringing it up. Someone's going to be bringing that up. And now you've met in the final twice, and it's 1-1. That's, retirement grudge match between Jag and Jason.
I hope I can remember it 5 years from now. So, I don't know. I like racing Jag and I've always liked racing him, because when I first started, he was, I think there was a lot of fear about him. So, and we've had some really good races, and he's always treated me with respect, and I hope I've done the same in return. So, he's a heck of a driver, and when you go up there, if you're not 20, you have no chance. So anyway, so I tried to give myself a chance, and I was lucky enough I actually asked Greg, he was 17 the first 2 rounds, and I asked him if I could borrow a 17 for the final, and he gave me one. So that was my first time he's ever done that. So it worked out good.
Yeah, but people are suspicious, though, because you do have kind of the aw shucks, I'm the engine builder attitude. But when you need a good reaction time, it's usually there for you. Like that 17, Greg didn't give you anything. You had to let go of the clutch, and there it is. Oh, 17, and you put a light on Jag, and you win the race.
Well, yeah, every once in a while it happens, but
in the final,
what's that?
In the final against Jag, you're able to dial up exactly what you need. That's what champions do.
Well, I did that time anyway. So yeah, it was fun, a good race, and it really was a heck of a drag race. I'm sure it was fun to watch. It was very cool to see my light come on for sure.
So you've taken over second in the points. Jag leader, you're 8 back, Erica 15 back, and then Kenny Delco. Hats off to Kenny Delco for being 4th at this point in the year, and they've improved their program. But no countdown, and every round matters. And as much as you won't be in action this weekend, the next race, whenever that will be, and we're hoping to find out about different areas and where races will be. There's going to be races. We just don't know exactly where and how many and all of that. But you gotta make hay now. Every race win could be the win that wins the championship.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely matters. And I don't know. None of us know where this is all going to end up. So in one hand, it's exciting. On the other hand, it's certainly a lousy circumstance to say the least. So. But it is what it is, and they'll call back. It is what it is, and all we can do is make the best of it and try to do the right thing.
All right, breaking news, hot off the presses, NHRA.com. Denver and Brainerd NHRA events postponed. Indianapolis date has been added. I highly doubt that this is news to the teams of the NHRA. The NHRA has announced the Denver Mile High Nationals presented by Pennzoil and the Lucas Oil Nationals at Brainerd have been postponed, and they have added a race on the Denver weekend in Indianapolis. So we got another Indianapolis. I don't know if Pro Stock is planning on be there. I certainly hope. Your instant reaction to this unfortunate news?
No Pro Stock there.
Even more negative.
Yep.
So when's the next Pro Stock race?
I don't know. I think we're scheduled to go to Topeka. So.
Yeah, well, that's going to be great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
If we go to Topeka, it will be great. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, they should have had you guys there at this next race because we got to get some races in the book so we can have a sampling. But I'm not questioning leadership.
You should call them, Joe.
They're watching right now.
I'll give you Ned's number.
They all get together in a conference room over there and they gather around the laptop and they watch all the WFO stuff. You don't know that? This is a big platform for you. You should say anything you want right now.
No, we'll definitely refrain from that.
That's smart. Very smart. Of course, you have carte blanche. I've told you that a million times. So, but very unfortunate for fans in Denver, and of course up there in Minnesota. Not that you won there a couple years ago and got that big milestone stat off your back, but it's just the way of the world in 2020. Just when you think it's over, it's not over. It's like the horror movie where the bad guy reaches up out of the grave and pulls you down.
Well, such is life. You just don't know what's going to happen or where it brings you. So all you can do is you just ride it out and do what you think is right. I mean, there's really we're kind of not in control of most things, so it's just the way she goes.
All right, so this weekend, Factory Stock Showdown back in action. You guys building power for that. Earlier when we tested, I saw that Bucky's Psycho Cuda was around. So you're staying busy in addition to pro stock related work. Tell us what you can tell us.
Yeah, we always stay busy. Everybody here's. We have a lot of ambitious folks and they all work hard. So yeah, we have lots of things cooking. We do we're doing more outside work than we've ever done in the past, just because it's a necessity, and of course it's fun as well. So yeah, we have a lot of little things going on.
Very good. Jason, thank you very much. And now that it's over, like 15, 20 minutes, the technology didn't change your life. You're good. Your fans, they saw you. They love you. Right, fans? Look at that. Jason, you have direct interaction with them. They can go to your Twitter account and see all your fantastic tweets that you put out.
Oh, there's tons.
Thank you for doing it. Thank you for submitting to this, whatever it is. I appreciate it. And now this victory will live forever on the internet. And years from now, the Martians will be looking at it saying, "What are they talking about?"
Yeah, exactly.
Any final thoughts for the audience and the drag racing fans out there that are taking this seriously?
Well, just certainly thank them for being patient, and hopefully everybody stays safe.
There you go. Jason, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks, Joe.
Later. There he goes. Jason Line, everybody. There he goes. He's back to work. Just like that. Back to work. Gobbled up like 20 minutes of his time. And look at this. Kathy, Jason looks wonderful. Wow. Where was that? What he was on? I could have hit him over the head with that one. But yeah, the big breaking news, everybody. The big breaking news. Here it is. Let me slightly move this so I can dial in and give you a cold read. NHRA has announced the Dodge Mile High NHRA Nationals presented by Pennzoil at Vandermeer Speedway in Denver, Colorado, and the Lucas Oil Nationals at Brainerd International Raceway in Brainerd, scheduled to be back-to-back weekends August 7th through 9th and August 14th through 16th, have been postponed until further notice for pandemic-related reasons. NHRA also announced the new NHRA Indy Nationals at Lucas Oil Raceway, Indianapolis, Indiana, August 6th through 9th. So that Denver weekend, it will be at Lucas Oil Raceway. Qualifying for the new event will air on FS1, and final eliminations will be on the Fox Broadcast Network. The NHRA Indy National will feature an extravaganza. It doesn't say that, but I think whenever the word extravaganza comes up, you got to say it. Of professional and sportsman racing over 4 days with limited spectators per Indiana guidelines. The Vandermeer family owners, this is right from NHRA.com. Since we're here together, I might as well read it to you. The Vandermeer family, and the discussion after. The Vandermeer family, owners of Vandermeer Speedway, home of Dodge Mile High National, stated that given our longstanding relationship with not only the NHRA and our Chrysler, Mopar, Dodge Mile High National sponsor, but also racers, fans, and additional sponsors who give our event its support, we are dedicated to finding a date for our event that will work this year, thus postponed, not canceled. We recognize that by postponing our event, we stand a much greater chance of having an event with more flexibility for everyone, and we look forward to some amazing racing action. I'm going to pause right there and give some analysis. This is what we do on the Ignition Show. Read an article, drop some opinion. That's smart, folks. During this pandemic, during this situation, flexibility is what's going to get us through. And so if this date isn't going to work for whatever reasons, and we shuffle the deck and we go into the end of the year, and allow me to state that the traditional end of the season in November in California shouldn't be a hard factor. We should be able to end the season wherever we can. Is it in the South? Is it where is it? It doesn't matter. Wherever we can race. Flexibility. Uh, everything goes out the window when you're trying to survive. And right now we're trying to keep the season going. So I love it. I love it. Have another race in Indy. That's great. Now to the Brainerd side of Christy Cope. We are disappointed that we have to postpone, is that word again, our event, says Christy, owner of Brainerd International Raceway. But we hope that by working closely with state and local authorities in the NHRA, we can find a way to put on a nationals race later this year, especially for our fans who deserve to enjoy a great weekend of NHRA drag racing. We appreciate everyone's patience, our fans, vendors, staff, racers, etc., as we work through the issues that allow us to hold this event, and we're continuing to work hard on it every day, says Chris. Such nice people. It's like they love the sport all the way. And so you know that they want to have a good event. You think about the zoo and you think about all the people that are there for things other than drag racing. You want to have an event that they can enjoy. And so hopefully we can get to a point. The remainder of the 2020 NHRA schedule remains the same, but is subject to change based on state and local guidelines. Exactly. NHRA has worked to create protocols for a responsible restart of the sports ed. But Cromwell, Presidente of the NHRA, we saw these protocols work at the E3 Sparkplugs NHRA Nationals last week. We appreciate the support of the state of Indiana, our drivers, team, staff, and fans, all as we work together moving forward. Event ticket holders will receive more information from Brainerd and Vandermeer as soon as it is possible via email, and encouraged to visit their websites. And there it is, the big breaking news, NHRA.com. This is why we scheduled Billy and Jason for this specific hour, so that we could get ahead of the big breaking news. Now, some of your comments out there, your audio went south, sounds like you're in a tube. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe it's just you. Maybe it's everyone. I don't know. But once again, Vandermeer, Brainerd, postponed later in the year, a new race scheduled at Indy. Keith says, I guess we're running the entire season at Indy. What I'm about to say is a statement of opinion from me and has no way and in no way reflects the opinions of NHRA. I'm okay with that. The Colts have 8 home games, and they get 70,000 fans. We're in the heart of drag racing country. If we needed to run every race at Lucas Oil Raceway, I am all for it. And I think that would be the smart move, because you've got your television audience. You don't want them becoming disconnected from the sport. You want to have something for the race team so that they can get their sponsorship. At track exposure is a big part of it, going market to market. But if that's unavailable, given the circumstances in certain states, cities, and locales, then if that's the option, I'm all for it. Running as many as are necessary at Lucas Oil Raceway, where the protocols have been developed and the virus isn't completely out of control, etc., and so on. So if that was the case, running the entire season at Indy, it's better than not running this season. Let's see. Mark, Vandermeer didn't surprise me with their recent trouble. Is that related? I don't know. I don't want to speculate. But even if it is what it is. You deal with what you deal with. See, early on, and then now we're going to delve into opinion. Early on, there were a pretty sizable percentage of people that were unsure of the legitimacy of the virus. Let's call it that. Unsure of the legitimacy. I think that number of people that are unsure of the legitimacy of the virus has been reduced greatly. I think most people now, whether they admit that they were unsure in the beginning or didn't believe it, certainly at Gainesville, I talked to people directly that said, this is all nothing, it's just a cold. Whether those people admit it or not, it's pretty obvious now. you want to have drag racing at any point, you got to beat the virus. That's it. You got to beat this. And so what's going to help us do it? Let's see what Steve told you. The NHRA and individual track owners are doing a tremendous job of being as flexible as possible and trying to roll through this nearly impossible situation. Stay healthy, everyone. Now that is a smart and balanced statement of opinion. The people who think, what would you think? It's fake, it's not right, it's not real. The whole world is dealing with this. And I happen to live in Florida, the state of Florida. You don't have to go very far to see Florida, Texas, Houston in particular, and other places are dealing with a pretty big problem right now. The numbers are going up. And all you have to do is watch localized news, read localized newspapers, talk to localized people to realize that the schools are not going to reopen with students in these hotspot areas. You have some challenges. What is the best way to beat the virus is the best way to get drag racing. Monica says Indy works because they're able to control the crowd number. Other tracks have pre-sold, so I guess it makes a difference. I don't know. I don't know. Controlling the crowd number is important. We had to meet what we were allowed this past weekend. I felt like people did a good job of distancing. I would prefer, and I don't know where my mask is inside our WFO radio studio. I normally have one sitting around here so that I can show you. But I did see a lot of people that were not wearing the masks at the race, sitting up in the grandstands, feeling far enough away from people near them that they didn't need to wear the mask. That's not what it's about. The more you wear the mask, the better chance we're going to have. Eric says this calls for more happy hour shows, Joe. Yeah, maybe, Eric. Maybe this is going to call for more happy hour shows. Jason Logan, Courtney Anderson have to get them. And I felt bad. Speaking of technical difficulties, that camera has been in place since the beginning of the happy hour shows. It finally disconnected. I think it's a world record. Let's see what Kev says. Hope it's November. Mile High Nationals, Hot Rod Reunion, Bakersfield would be so cool. I have no idea how cold it gets in Denver in November. I think maybe if it starts to get cold, coldness is a problem. We're talking about bitter cold, freezing, snow, that kind of stuff. They can run when it's cool. Certainly anybody that goes to Pomona in November knows at night it can get pretty cold. But that's the deal. What's the possibility? Monica Kiddo wants to move to Indy. I would move to Indy. Yay for Lucas Oil Raceway. I'm good with that. If you love drag racing, you should be okay with it. You should be thrilled that they got a home stadium. NASCAR has lots of people with no mask. NHRA is doing it right. Well, and that's those NASCAR people. We talked to people in Bristol. The citizens of Bristol were pretty irritated. They had, I heard, 22,000 at the NASCAR race, and they are allowing 30,000. So they had under, but that's okay. It was the biggest sporting event since the COVID crisis. And you have so many people that still, like, for whatever, I know what the reason is. I don't want to say whatever reason. It's for personal freedom. Personal freedom. They don't want to be told to wear the mask, and so they choose for themselves to not wear the mask. That's their line. And I get it. And my analogy is always the same thing, which is if there's an air raid siren going on, and go back to World War II when this was really happening, and bombers from another nation may in fact be coming, and you are commanded to turn off your lights. You can't say, no, I feel like reading, I refuse to turn off my lights, because you get the whole civilization bombed and the destruction happens because of you. And I really feel like what's happening now with local governments asking people to wear masks is exactly the same thing. By leaving your lights on or not wearing a mask, you are delaying the defeat of the virus. You're taking it upon yourself. You're delaying the defeat of the virus. You're expanding the possibility of the virus, not only for yourself, but for other people, because you're signaling that it's not significant enough for you to be bothered. Can you imagine the air raid sirens are going off, bombers of an enemy nation are flying over your city, and your next door neighbor has got his lights on because he feels like reading, because he doesn't want to be told what to do, because he refuses to obey the authorities, because he's free and has freedom? and then the bombs rain down? Is that analogy off in any way? We're all asked to sign up for selective service when we turn 18. We must go. We must go. It's not an option. It's not a personal freedom. It's not a choice. Maybe I'll go sign up for the draft. Maybe I'll go. It's my freedom. I'm not going to do it. I don't just add those politicians. They might send me somewhere I don't want to go. I'm not going to sign up. Heck with that. Is that an option? No, it's not. It's not. Why? Because it has to deal with the security of our nation and the future of our nation. There are some things you got to just do. And I really think that this mask thing is the next version of this. Now, it's obviously trending in the right direction. And what drag racing fans do isn't an ultimate deal. But we're part of it. We claim to be like the most patriotic of all sports, right? Aren't we? The one that connects our history directly to our World War II victory and connects our knowledge of machinery directly to the GIs in World War II who kept things running. Isn't that the story of the NHRA and of drag racing and of motorsports in general? And here we are fighting another enemy, an invisible enemy that is directly threatening our life here in America, whether it be our actual and literal life or the fun life that we've created for ourselves. The ability to go racing, and there's a lot of people that are like, fewer and fewer every day. Fewer and fewer every day. It's time to, and as you can tell, I'm doing this now. It's time to say, hey, folks, time to get with the program now. Wear the mask. The bombers are coming. Shut off your lights. When the country asks you to sign up, sign up. There are certain things that you just got to do. Let's see. Keith, you are so right. Living in Florida is an embarrassment to me right now. Living in Florida is not an embarrassment. It's still beautiful weather, sun, fun, all kinds of stuff. But the way this specific crisis has been handled, all you got to do is look at a chart. Just look at the charts. Look at the chart. Cases, deaths. Look at the chart. And I'll tell you this. I'll share a story I shared on the Ignition show, just so everybody knows, so everybody's on the same page. I know I don't have a ton of people on there. I tried to get a test. I just wanted to get a test. I was around some people like, my mind was playing tricks on me. And since then, by the way, I'm out of the 14-day period, and but I wanted to get a test for peace of mind. It was 7 days before I could even get a test. And then the results of the test were going to come 6 days later than that. What does that tell you? It's practically pointless. In my case, it was practically pointless to get a test. Test more. We got to go fast. We got to do more. We got to do it fast. And that's the way we're going to get out of it. And if we don't go more, do it faster. Get it up. Yeah, wear a mask, protect yourself, like wearing a fire suit for a race car, no brainer. And yet, fire suits are mandated. Seatbelts are mandated. Helmets are mandated. They do not say wear a helmet if you feel like it. Why not? What kind of a moron would not wear a helmet in a race car? What kind of person would not wear a helmet in a race car? And yet somehow it's mandated. Why? It's mandated. Why is it a rule that you have to have all these safety things? Why? Well, because somebody would not do it. They would elect to not do it. They would choose to not spend the money. Well, I didn't want to do that. I want to buy a new carburetor instead of the helmet. So I'm going to go with the helmet next time, and I'll get the carburetor now. Oops, I crashed. I love that you brought up the racing analogy, because everything I think of really kind of goes through racing. Goes through racing. You have rules and specs. And if you want to race, you got to follow these rules and specs. Now, there's outlaw racing, of course, and we know about that. When we're talking about health, I prefer the idea, the concept. That we don't tell people seatbelts and fire systems are options. It's a personal responsibility. Why? Because we don't want people getting killed out. And it's kind of the same. So there it is. Correct. Absolutely correct, sir. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. Thank you very much. Sorry for preaching on, but this is it's obviously required. It's obviously required. We just postponed 2 of our races. We need to move faster. We want to get back a schedule. If we want to be at Vandermeer, we want to get to that race. They're trying to hope that we can get to a point where we can have real races with real fans. There's only one way that's going to happen for us to beat the virus, to get the numbers down. They're talking about lockdown in Florida again, which I don't want to do. They say that if everybody wore the mask, we might not have to. Can we please go drag racing fans? Can we please talk to your friends, talk to your neighbors? Just do it. Anyway, that's it. And yes, Sarah, more happy hour shows. Big thanks to our sponsors, talking about Marvin Rodak, Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. Marvin is a great guy. Love Marvin. And Marvin has been a big help to WFO radio over the years. Hot sauces, spice rubs, everything good. Rodak's. Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. Their gas-ported piston rings help you make power with an off-the-shelf piston. Do all kinds of great work there at Total Seal. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Dragster Adventures, smaller class size, social distancing, but you can still drive a dragster and learn how to get better. And of course, samtech.edu. Factory Stock Showdown in action this weekend, testing on NHRA.tv as we speak. For all you young people out there looking for a career, go to samtech.edu. I'm WFO Joe. If you disagree with me on any of these opinions that I have put out there, you can tweet at me at WFO Joe. Instagram, I prefer to keep it in pretty pictures. That's the best thing about Instagram is it's pretty pictures. That is all. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud. Subscribe to the podcast so you never miss a show. And of course, YouTube. Thinking about doing more on YouTube, less on Facebook. Let me know what you think. And NitroFishRacing.com. If you want to get the WFO Radio t-shirt, you get 20% off on NitroFishRacing.com. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. Thank you so much for listening. Billy Torrence, Jason Line, NHRA for breaking some news. We appreciate all of you. Thanks so much. Have a great Friday.